Hello, hello. It is August 11th on Monday, 11:52 a.m. Central Time. So it's lunchtime here. Also past lunchtime in Eastern. And so I woke up a little bit late this morning. And so I only posted kind of a screenshot of what I was looking at pre-market. And I had the Sunday review, so I already had marked out my levels that I was interested in. You kind of see them here in the 1 minute. Didn't quite get to any of them. And then we had our pre-market high here, which was broken, and now we're kind of breaking below, and then also the pre-market low. And so we really traded inside of that for at least the morning session when I was trading. And so, kind of before I go into my trades, really quick, just some observations. So we did break, yesterday's high. We pierced through really good. Um, Maybe that was a short squeeze up, and now we're kind of falling back over on the 1 hour. I think we're going to just kind of end up back into this range. On the daily, we tried for all-time highs. It looks like we want it, but maybe not today. Maybe tomorrow. We did pull back to the high of the previous day candle, so that was a good place to go long. I think I missed that when I was trading this morning, and so that's why the short didn't work out that I took. Excuse me. But just kind of quick recap of my trades here. I need to make sure my screen share is back. There we go. So on the 1 minute here, one of the things I was looking for, if you saw the Sunday prep, was, here was the close of Friday. And, I said, if we gap down into this area, I'll be looking for a short if we can kind of stay below that. And so if we do the replay, kind of back into here. So we kind of gapped down and I said, okay, and here is about previous day close. And my orders don't show, but you can kind of see we kind of went back up. Let me get out of that really quick. And so we went back up here. Zoom in here. So we broke down and I said, okay, here's pre-market high. So we're below that. I think maybe we can go short. And I also think this coincided with the midpoint for the last 4 hour candle. So if you're into the premium and discount model type stuff of the previous 4 hour, I think the previous day close was about that midpoint, that 50% point. And so broke up here. And I saw we kind of went down in this push up. I did go short around this level. And I was looking for more downside to at least the pre-market low, and closed strong here, broke up here, and I ended up stopping out over this kind of level right here where we were wicking down, wicking down, stopped out there, and then said, okay, maybe we're going to turn. So went long, was in the green, and so I was going for the gap close here. It was in the green, nice green, kind of came down, kind of retest the previous day close, push back up, and I ended up taking it off here at the opening price just because I wanted this to kind of go straight up, and it didn't quite do that. And knowing the NQ, maybe I was going to get shooken out. And then waited a couple candles, and I said, okay, well, this one got into the cloud, pushed up, green, kind of pulled back, pushed up, green, pretty strong wicks. And so I said, okay, this candle went long. So went long here. I think I'm not exactly sure where my entry was, but I think it was around here. And then, started getting to the red, wick down, kind of closed mid. And I was like, okay, let's hang out here. This one pushed up. Didn't quite do what I wanted. And then I decided just to get out because it didn't move as quickly as I wanted to do. And so I didn't really like the way we were consolidating here, and it didn't move quickly. We couldn't really break past this, and I said, okay, let me get out. I get out, next candle we flush, and I'm just like, well, shit, no longer looking for the long. And then when we push back up, I said, okay, let's see if we can kind of fall over. So I short, waited one candle. I was like, okay, it closed strong here, and it broke above that candle. I took it off, so stopped out. I think I'm in the slight red at this point. And then so I'm waiting to see if we're going to push up more. And in here, I see this green candle, green candle, green candle. I buy. um, and looking for a push up to the gap close. Saw this kind of going down, and then I was like, okay, I'll put the stop below that candle. We go, I get stopped out. It is what it is. And then after I get stopped out, boom, big down candle, right? And so like 2 times in a row, I just didn't like how we were consolidating, and I had to get out. And as soon as I get out, we have the flush. As soon as I get out, we have that flush. And so this is just what the NQ does. Other than I'm looking at the cumulative volume delta on my trading view, and I'm watching that along with price. And it's just when I see what I see there versus what price is doing, I just get it's more of an intuition of like if I should get out or stay into a position. And in both of these instances, I got out before the flush, got out before the flush. And so this is where I'm like, okay, it's like we're obviously trying to go up, but it's such a big, big kind of dip downs where it's not really moving strong in the up direction for me. And I think at this point, the range was, if you look from here to here, you're talking about like a 67-point range. And so it was really tight. And so I think realizing that, I was like, okay, I just need to kind of shake it off and just wait, right? Wait for some edges before I do anything. Because also at this point, we are in kind of this like gap zone situation, right? In theory, like this was a good short. I didn't see this. I didn't really anticipate this part right away before that short down, before it got more longs, but that's what it is. And so, took a little walk and just kind of seeing what price does. I saw that here, we're like, oh, we're kind of falling over, but then, we had that strong push up and kind of consolidation, pull back, another launch here. And I said, okay, maybe we're really going to try to go for the pre-market high and go after that. And so I see this strong candle. This one didn't really wick down too much, closed green. So I was like, okay, next candle, let's go. And so you go up, which is great. And we test the high here. So this is the regular trading hour high and previous day high. So we close strong. So I was like, okay, we're going to go. Sellers are like, nope. And we push down, we close in the lows. Buyers try to step in again, closing at the highs. Sellers are like, nope, pushes down, closing on the lows. And I'm like, okay, we got to get out of here. And so I think as soon as we got under this HMA here, I stopped out. I think here was a nice, decent loss, nothing crazy. And then from there, I was like, okay, like you're looking at these two areas here. That is my Alexa. So I was looking at this. I was like, okay, bulls closing on the highs. Sellers are like, nah. Bulls closing on the highs. Sellers are like, nah. And I said, okay, like I think maybe we should look for the shorts. And so went short here. And from here, I was like, okay, obvious stop is above here. That's just what it is. And I just kind of hung out, watched the HMA turn, watch our clouds turn. Bulls are trying to fight. And then we finally roll over. And then I think I took it off here, swept kind of the low of this. And then by this point, I'm in the green. So I was like, okay, fine. And then took a little walk, kind of came back. I saw that we pushed up, but then we couldn't really break up anymore. And we're kind of making this low here. And I was like, okay, let's see if we push up to the HMA, which we did. Took the short, small scalp kind of down to here, to this low. So took that out. So that was a small scalp win. And then just kind of watching it again. And I was trying to see, at this point, I think the NQ was the only index that was green. So SPY and Dow, they were all red. And I think SPY was teetering, right? And so I was like, well, is the NQ going to really push everything up, or are we going to get dragged down by everything else? And so when I saw this push up, close in the high, I was watching it. This next candle broke the low of that one. So I was like, all right, close on the low. And so I just went short and then took it off at the low of this candle, just very small scalp there. And then from there, I wasn't sure, right? Like here, we're at the previous day close. When I was looking at, well, everything is different now, right? But when I was looking at the SPYs and ES and the SPX, they were still red, right? But I wasn't sure because now we're at this level of previous day close and the previous day close on the NQ, and you kind of see what happened here, where it got bought up and it got bought up, got bought up. I was like, are we going to get bought up again? And at this point, my emotions were kind of like, I think I was a little bit over trading, wasn't too patient, and I was expecting too much of follow through, given Monday and given there's news tomorrow, and so just decided to kind of walk away with the profit that I had. So nothing too crazy. It took a few stops, but ended up in the green. Not as green as I would like, but you just gotta wait and see what the next day brings. So yeah, that's my trading day. I'll do another review for the morning, see how we look after the CPI. I think is tomorrow, and we'll just see how things go. Let's see. Yeah, tomorrow is. Oh no. Yeah, we got CPI tomorrow, so we'll just see how things go there. All right, that's all I got. Thank you.